Hi everyone, welcome to our first building block number 1, understanding hazards and risk. Uh, in this modules, we are going to put most of our basic information or concepts in a form of modules, short modules hopefully, that when you review them, they will stay in your mind and you will be able to understand most of our training courses, because our training courses will be built from these modules. So I would like to remind you here with two things when you are listening to this building block modules. Always have a pen and paper to write your comments or question or something you want to clarify. The second point is related to the COVID-19. Hopefully, we will not need it in the future, but right now and until further notice from the government, we have to respect social distancing and we have to make sure that we are not going to break any rule. So if you are alone, it's fine. But if you are with someone else, I know it's up to you, but please watch for all the precautions. If you attend in all the precaution for COVID-19, if you attend in our classroom, you will be given a kit, and you will be tested for temperature, and you will have a self-assessment, and the kit is comprising of some instructions, and maybe mask and gloves will be given if you don't have them. Okay, so the building blocks, as I said, these are the ABCs, like you learn a new language. So this is like the ABC of the language. And for all EHS, the very first should always understanding what is a hazard and what is a risk. We need to remember that the objective of this course and all other courses, not just the certificate and not just the knowledge, is that eventually you will become safer. You will become safer and you will make your workplace safer. That's the ultimate objective of all these courses. And remember that safety is not the job of safety officer only. It is actually everybody's business. That's a very nice way to put it. Okay, what we are going to cover in this module are a few points. What is a hazard? And what are the categories of hazards? Although the categories are described in more detail and discussed in more details in module 3, but here we'll just have a quick one about the categories. And then after we learn the hazard, we will learn also what is a risk, and then the risk formula. Using the risk formula in risk assessment will be in another module in the future. Okay, so that's the first thing to learn today is what is a hazard. I will pause and let's see if you can write down or say what do you think hazard is and what do you think risk is, and if you can really tell a certain difference. Because in language, I think in almost all languages, these two words are used interchangeably. We can say, yeah, that was a very risky job and that is a hazardous job. And that's fine. In language, literature, it's fine. But when it comes to technical and safety information, we need to make a difference. We need to clear the difference. They are very related. They are very related, but they are not the same. And you will see that now. So what is hazard? So hazard is defined as anything. It could be a circumstance, could be energy, it could be a design, activity, but hazard is anything with the potential to cause harm to people, environment, or assets or reputation. And we call this for PEAR, people, environment, asset, reputation. So anything with the potential to cause harm to PEAR is considered as a hazard. And PEAR is the focus of all HSE or EHS management systems. And the focus of our procedure is to protect PEAR. Okay, protecting people and environment and equipment and building assets are very clear. What about reputation? What is actually reputation? Reputation is your name or your company name or the values. So you may build reputations that you are a very proactive person, very efficient, very knowledgeable, very safety cautious person. And you may also, or other person can build a reputation that he is taking risk, he is lazy, he is not focusing. So his reputation is very important. Reputation can cause a big loss or damage to companies as well and big organization. A very, very good example about how the effect of reputation when it is damaged is the Bin Laden group in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They have this train accident killing more than 300 people during pilgrimage, and that company is no more. No more. $18 billion loss, I believe, something like that. So reputation is equally important. If something damage our reputation, cause a loss, it is a hazard for us as well. Okay, so these are examples you can see here. That train that collapsed, the smoke and thermal pollution for the environment, building cotton fire, that is assets, and this group of people protesting against some company did something wrong. And of course, we didn't just make the word to just become PEAR like the fruit. No, they are actually here in the sequence of their importance. Life, people's life first, environment, because environment we are borrowing from our next generation, from our grandchildren. So if we damage the environment, what kind of future we are giving them? And then assets, including building, vehicles, equipment, and reputation, as I said. So there is just not just any sequence. It's meant to be like that, the sequence of their importance to us. Okay, so example of hazards, there are hundreds and hundreds of them on the work site and off the work site. You name it, fire, explosion, dust, toxic gases, flammable gases, inert gases, corrosive material, hot surfaces, sharp object, falling and flying materials, wrong position in front of the computer, the height of the screen, overloading. All these are hazards, and we are facing slippery floors. We are facing on daily basis a lot of them. Okay. Other categories, as I said, is discussed in more details in module 3 or BB3. But here we'll have an idea. What we have here is we grouped different others that are related in nature, similar nature together. And the sequence is not important. So I can start with the physical and the biological or the chemical or whatever. But here, for example, the chemical category include anything that result from or in a reaction. For example, flame, fire, explosion, corrosion. All these are dust, because dust may explode also. So this will come under the chemical category of hazards. Physical, there is no reaction, but there is effect, heat, pressure, humidity, vibration, noise, radiation. All these come under the physical category. Ergonomics. Ergonomics is the science of designing our equipment and workplace to fit how our body function. So ergonomic hazard will be related to design of our tool and equipment and workplace, and a wrong design, and what's the impact of this on our body. Simple example, if you are looking now to your laptop screen, and you put this screen up 10-20 centimeter above where it is now, and then you have to tilt your head up, and after some time you feel pain. And if you are watching this on the mobile and you have been watching it for 20 minutes now, I advise you to stop and relax and then come back to it, because after some time you will develop pain. And these are all related to ergonomics. The height of the table, the writing desk, the color we're used to warn people, all these are related to ergonomics. For example, it is commonly known all over the world that the red color is showing danger and green showing safe. That will be in all cultures and all countries of the world. Electrical, so items related to use of electrical energy, and that will include the AC current and DC current, and it will include lightning. Lightning have millions of volts, too much energy. Static electricity also, that static electricity, you touch a metal doorknob and you feel a small shock, or you shake hand with somebody and then you get a shock. This small spark, believe it or not, can explode a whole refinery or plant. If it came across, this spark can ignite a gas cloud, a flammable gas cloud that leaked somewhere in the plant. Biological hazards will include bacteria, fungus, virus like corona, AIDS, flu, all these viruses. And of course, it will include also some animals like reptiles, snake, or like spiders, scorpions. All these are considered. In some countries, of course, will be also mosquitoes and some kind of fly, like the tsetse fly. So in offshore, if you are working in oil and gas offshore, one of the biological hazard, especially for divers that going down to inspect the platform, going underwater, could be shark or jellyfish. Could be shark. So these all are biological hazards. We are grouped under biological hazards. Mechanical will include moving machinery, vehicles, cranes, lifting equipment, rotating machinery, reciprocating pistons. All these are under the mechanical group. Psychological are to do with our emotions and feelings, including stress. For example, stress from a boss, for example, including stress because of hard job and long time of work, including overtime. Harassment, somebody is discriminating because of color or sex or whatever. This all cause stress, and can, of course, we can lose focus. Also, phobia. There is a lot of phobias. There is a phobia from closed areas called claustrophobia. Phobia from working at height, and this is called acrophobia. And there are a lot of phobias. Hydrophobia, fear of water. And of course, If there is a guy with claustrophobia and he's assigned or he's one of the groups that's going to clean inside the tank, he may panic and injure himself or injure others. So it's difficult to discover that, but it needs to be considered. And of course, you have to be a clever supervisor, watchful. You can see any change of the way they behave. You may find it. Likely, they will not tell you. But if you make the culture that people will come, maybe you will find it out. Another phobia that may cause a problem is acrophobia, fear from height. And the people will feel that everything is turning. And of course, again, I cannot select a guy with acrophobia and ask him to work on scaffolding. That will be looking for troubles for him and his co-workers. Okay, enough about the categories. You can have more about it in module 3 and what we are going to use it for. You can look at this. So okay, that was hazard. Anything that can cause or has the potential to cause harm to PEAR. What about risk? What about risk? Let us, before going, consider this situation. Okay? That guy that crossing the road, looking into his mobile, not paying attention, and a car coming fast. So he was hit by the car. But the first scenario, the driver of the car, in the last moment, he saw him and he managed to push the brakes and he slowed down to 20 kilometers before hitting him. The second scenario, the guy couldn't stop and he hit him at 120 kilometers per hour. Obviously, the damage to the guy will be different, completely different in both cases. In the second case, 99.9% he's dead. In the first one, he may cause some bruises or broken bone. So that difference in the damage that happened to him, we call it the severity. And of course, we can conclude that the car going at 120 kilometers has more risk than the car that slowed down to 20 kilometers. And that means the higher the severity, the higher the risk. So risk increase when the severity of the damage increase. When the severity of the damage increase. So we call this severity, and you can see that in these three images. First one is bruises and maybe the first aid case. The second one, the guy broke his leg. And in the third one, a guy in coma. We can see there are different levels of damage here, and we say the severity is different. Of course, there is a scale, and the scale is qualitative, only descriptive, and we go from 1 to 6 now. Now, new ADNOC risk assessment matrix is going severity from 1 to 6, 1 being the lowest severity, and 6 maybe it's a multiple fatality. It's a multiple fatality. We will talk in details in one of the future modules about risk assessment, and we will, but this work as the building block for that module. This module we are discussing now is a building block for it. We need to understand it, and it is simple and straightforward. Okay, so severity S is how much damage due to the accident or due to that hazard that we are exposed to. The degree of burn, is it a first degree burn, second degree burn, or third degree burn? Is the guy just got bruises or broke his bone or paralyzed or dead? Degrees of severity. So the first element of risk is severity, and we say with the severity increase, risk increase. What about the second one? Because there are two basic elements for risk. There may be other we can discuss in a very advanced level later, but now we have the severity, and the second one will be the probability. This picture is self-explanatory. One girl decided to cross from the zebra crossing. The other lady decided to just cross from anywhere. So the chance that you get hit, of course, is much less for the person who followed the rules, went to the zebra crossing, waited for the signal. When the signal is green, she crossed. And we can say that the probability that the person will be hit or exposed to a certain injury or to the severity will increase or decrease depend on what you are doing. If we follow the rule, it always will decrease, most probably. And that goes for any rule that we have. The no smoking sign, the following a certain procedure, or listening or to alarm. If you follow the rules are made to reduce the probability and sometimes severity as well. Okay, so the first element of risk was severity, S, and the second one is probability. And again, we can see that if probability of the accident increase, the risk increase. So the lady that is crossing away from the zebra crossing has more risk because the probability she get hit is higher. She's not in the proper place to cross, and maybe she is not also looking to the signal, green signal. Okay, so risk here is severity times probability. Risk is the product of severity and probability. The formula is a very simple. R equals S times P. And this formula, believe it or not, we are going to use it to calculate and make risk assessment, the qualitative risk assessment, the descriptive one. You can see it's an interesting picture. Taking risk is like gambling. And this guy is measuring the risk before taking any action. And is also an interesting thing is the word hazard itself is taken from the name of these dice. You know these dice for gambling on the left side? The Arabic name for the dice, from that word az-zahru, the word hazard was derived from that. So every time we take a risk, ignore a hazard, we are gambling with our life. That's the idea. Okay. So it is simple, and I hope you understood. And if you want using this, you can just try to memorize what is a hazard, what is the probability severity, and compare, write it down in a paper and compare it with the previous slides. If you have any question, please email us. Okay, my friends, that was the end of the module 1. It is very basic, but it's very important, and it will help us in understanding many of the future modules. And we would like at the end of this one to thank our sister company, Transtech Solution Limited, who are the regional agent for a firefighting product Nova Cool. It's actually the best firefighting product in the market right now, and we thank them for sponsoring this and making it free for everybody. It's Nova Cool. Don't forget, please, to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's BBOS, BBOSS space safety, and this again will help us. You can find all these videos there. Thank you.